Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I made these yogurt mandarin slices. Now for the dough, you're going to need 75 grams of sugar with a good pinch of salt, 1 package of vanilla sugar or just a good splash of vanilla extract, 2 room temperature eggs, 100 grams of softened butter, 100 grams of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon-ish of ground orange zest, and 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk. Now we're just going to start by creaming together our butter, sugar, salt, and vanilla until super light and creamy before we add in our eggs one at a time. Now at this point we can basically just add in the rest of our ingredients. Now with the milk you might not have to add all of it, or you might have to add a little bit more. You basically just want a nice dough that you can spread into your tin. So I'm just going to start with about half of my milk. Now you can also fold in some ground pistachios or almonds or add any other flavorings that you want, but I'm going to leave mine just the way it is. Now because we're going to be making slices or squares, I'm going to be using a rectangular tin. Mine is 8 inches by 8 inches, but if yours is a little bit bigger or smaller, that's okay too. The only difference is that your dough is going to be a little bit thicker or a little bit thinner, and it might need 1 or 2 minutes more or less in the oven. Now because this is the first time I'm using this new tin, I don't know if it's going to spill or leak. So just to make sure that there's no spillage in my oven, I'm just putting it onto another tray just in case. Now at this point, this can just go into the oven that's been preheated to 180 degrees Celsius or 360 degrees Fahrenheit for like 10 to 12 minutes. But again, depending on the size of your tin, you might need 1 or 2 minutes more or less. Now while our cake is cooling, we can get to making our filling. So for that, you're going to need 200 milliliters of heavy whipping cream, 200 grams each of Greek yogurt and regular yogurt. If you don't want to use both, you can also just substitute 400 grams of either one of them. Of course, a good splash of vanilla extract, the juice of half a lemon, 25 grams of powdered sugar, 5 grams of gelatin, and a good splash of water to go with that. And I'm also using 2 cans of drained mandarins. So that's about 350 grams after they've been drained. Now whatever you do, please do not throw away your drained mandarin juice because we're going to need that to brush onto our cake for more moisture, and we're going to need it for our glaze on top. Now without further ado, let's get to actually making our filling. So I'm just going to start by adding my water to my gelatin and giving that a good mix. And we're going to set that aside for about 10 minutes to bloom. Now in the meantime, we can already whisk up our whipping cream until we have some nice stiff peaks, and we can also mix together all of our other ingredients except for our mandarins. Now that our gelatin is nice and thick, we're going to heat this up either on the stove on medium-low heat or in the microwave for a couple of seconds, just until it has melted and it's nice and liquidy. You don't want to overheat or boil your gelatin because else it will not thicken your cream. Now we just need to temper our gelatin, so of course I need a bigger bowl, and I should have just used a bigger bowl from the beginning, but whatever. Now essentially all we're doing is adding little dollops of our yogurt mixture to our hot gelatin. We're going to mix that in, and it's going to help bring down the temperature of the gelatin, because if we add our hot gelatin right into our cold mixture, it's going to immediately solidify, and it's not actually going to thicken the whole cream, and there's going to be like streaks of like gelatin in there, which is really gross, and it's happened to me before. So really make sure to temper your gelatin. Now the last thing we need to do for our filling is just fold in our whipped cream. And there's our super soft and creamy filling. Now you can also give this a quick taste to see if you need to add any more lemon juice or powdered sugar or vanilla or really anything else. It's good. I like it. Perfect. Now my cake actually ended up baking for about 15 minutes. So once you get to that 12-minute marking, just make sure to keep an eye on it because it might be done or it might need a couple minutes more. Now I'm going to give my tin a quick rinse just to make sure it's nice and clean for when we layer it with our filling. Alrighty, our cake can go back into our tin. There we go. Now I'm just going to generously brush on some of our leftover mandarin juice. Now at this point we can gently pour on our filling and smooth it out. I'm going to very gently add my mandarins on top, and hopefully they don't sink to the bottom, but they shouldn't. Now we can already slide this into the fridge to chill while we get our glaze ready. Now for the glaze, you're going to need 250 milliliters of liquid. In my case, I ended up having 200 milliliters left over from our mandarin juice, so I used that and then added another 50 milliliters of orange juice, and that also kind of helped with the color a little bit to get it a little bit more orange. Now I'm going to be using a glaze package like this just to use it up, but if you don't have one like this, it's basically just 1 to 2 tablespoons of cornstarch that you're going to use to thicken up your juice. Now you can also add 1 to 2 tablespoons of sugar. I find that our mandarin juice is sweet enough for me, so I'm not going to bother adding in any more sugar, but if you prefer it to be a little bit more sweet, you can definitely do that as well. Now essentially all we're going to do is put both of these into our pot here, bring that up to a boil for about 1 to 2 minutes, and then it should be nice and thick. Now you just want to let this cool off for about 5 minutes before you gently pour it over your mandarins. Alrighty, this can go back into the fridge for 4 to 6 hours, but ideally overnight, which is what I'm going to do. So I will see you tomorrow. As you can tell, it's the next day and we're finally ready to finish our cake. Now I'm going to start by just gently removing it from my tin. Now you can cut this up in a couple different ways. You can either make even squares or you can make kind of more rectangular slices, which I think is what I'm going to do. Now you can leave your mandarin slices just the way that they are like this, or you can use some whipped cream and do a little bit of decoration. So I whipped up about 100 milliliters of whipping cream with just 2 teaspoons of sugar and like a little tiny splash of vanilla extract. And there you have it, our Mandarin yogurt slices. So that's going to be everything for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, you can give it a thumbs up or write me a comment down below. And as always, the whole recipe is going to be in the description box as well.